Representatives from Great Land Trust discussed the ongoing transition of the 184-acre oceanside property from private to city ownership. Much of the conversation at the City Council meeting centered around the hopes of development for future public hiking trails. John Clark is president of the Port Valdez Company, owner of the property. He explained why the downtown land just north of the ferry terminal has gone largely undeveloped for over a century.
When my great-grandfather died, the property in his will was worth zero. And of course, when the oil was discovered, it was worth something. However, it's very expensive to get the utilities there and to develop properties, clear it, make it proper so you could build houses.
The property had been for sale for some time with the intention of residential development. Clark detailed how Lee Hart, former director of Valdez Adventure Alliance, initially reached out to him with the idea to conserve Meals Hill for public use.
She approached me. She said, there is a group called the Great Land Trust in Anchorage that has access to some funding. They seek properties that were harmed by the Exxon Valdez spill, and if they qualify, they are interested in setting them aside on a conservation easement.
Great Land Trust is an Anchorage-based nonprofit that works with willing landowners to conserve properties around south central Alaska. Cordova, Kenny Lake, Kodiak, and Anchorage are among other cities where they have ongoing projects. Dave Mitchell, conservation director of Great Land Trust, described what role the organization plays in community land conservation.
Great Land Trust is able to bring together all of these parties to be able to facilitate a land transaction like this. We work with the funder, the city, the parks department, the seller, to be able to bring together all of the necessary pieces for a land deal like this.
After 2 years of work, Great Land Trust and the Port Valdez Company have come to an agreement about the sale of the Meals Hill property. Though the land would come into the ownership of the city of Valdez, the city isn't the one paying for it.
The money's coming from the Exxon Valdez Oil Spill Trustee Council Habitat Fund, and the property is going directly to the city of Valdez for ownership and management.
This funding was set aside for land conservation after the 1989 disaster that led to a $900 million civil settlement with Exxon. The Port Valdez Company is also offered to set up a matching grant fund after the sale of the property for public use improvements to the land. A purchase and sale agreement must be signed before May 1st due to funding requirements. If all goes according to plan, the property will be transferred to the city of Valdez in 2019 or 2020, subject to a conservation easement that will restrict certain uses. Most likely, this means that only low-impact, non-motorized activities will be allowed. City Councilman Chris Moulton talked about some of the potential drawbacks of this land deal.
While I understand it and we don't have any upfront costs, once it's deeded to us, it'll be ours for perpetuity. So we'll have to maintain it. The other, would be referred to as downsides, is that whole property will come off the tax roll. So being no longer privately held, we can't tax it when it becomes our own. And of course, any future development of that area is not negotiable.
The 2018 taxable value of the property was $207,300. If it were to take possession of the land, the city of Valdez would lose annual tax revenue of around $4,100. But there appeared to be general agreement among city council and local residents that loss would be worthwhile for a new public use trail system right in town. Lynette Oliver encouraged city council to make such a choice.
Those who know me know that I love to walk my dog on the trails. Walking on sidewalks or along the highway, such as the bike path along the Richardson Highway, does not deliver the same depression-relieving benefits and other health benefits as walking where you feel like you're completely immersed in nature.
Representatives from Great Land Trust will return to the Valdez City Council in about a month to request a resolution to support the project, after which they plan to move forward with the acquisition. Meanwhile, local residents are looking forward to blueberry picking, downhill bike races, and stellar views, all a short walk away at Meals Hill. Reporting from Valdez for KCHU, I'm Shahmeer Azmat.